On the bench, I'm going to have a pair of Kenmore machines that were made by Janome. These are kind of the last gasp of the Kenmore brand. This machine, as you can see, I've already got it taken apart. It's got cute purple knobs. It's a very basic machine. 4 stitches, well, a buttonhole and then straight and zigzag stitches. This was sold as the 385 15202-400. I think that's a 15202 for like a model number on that, but I'm gonna have to split this and get a look inside because it's making a horrible banging noise when it runs, and it is very similar to this Kenmore, which is another Janome made Kenmore, and this one only has needle position, length, and width dials, so it's zigzag only with no buttonhole. And this is the 385 12102-990, so I think that's what, 12102 maybe. But these are similar machines, class 15. They both split roughly the same way, and I've already removed all the screws I could find on this machine body. So there was like one here, one hiding back in here. There's a screw in here that I loosened. There was a screw that I removed here. 2 screws here under the handle that are loosened but didn't get taken out. A screw removed from this hole. Let's see. On the bottom here, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws on the very bottom, and a screw over here. And then there was a cover here, and I popped the cover and removed the screw from this hole. I've also already taken the clutch out and oiled the clutch here because the knob pops off, or pops out, to disengage from the drive wheel, but it was gummed up, so even when it was popped out, the machine was turning. So I've taken this out and oiled the drive wheel, and with the screws all loose, this machine, I believe the back pops off first. For these Janome, like 90s, 2000s era machines, you have to figure out whether it's the front or the back side that gets removed first. I believe the back is what I'm going to pop off here. It's... And I've got a full split reached around through there. Oh, I spot one more screw. There's a tiny screw here that is screwed into the plastic on the front of the case. If I remove that, maybe the front will lift off. There, okay. So, this machine, all the knobs are sticking through the front case, so just have to. Alright. Oh, and of course it popped back together. Let's try this again. The back is drifting away. Let's see if we can get the back to come Gotta pull the case off around our presser foot lifter. Some of these, the case has a divider on it so that you have to lift them the right... Oh, that's the thing I forgot. Lift the spool pins so they don't catch on stuff. Alright. And now I need a little lift, there we go, to get over the power block on the machine. And then once we're free of the power block, the back side just pops off. So the back side doesn't provide us with a ton of access to the workings of the machine, but it provides access to the hook gears here, and it lets me double check, because sometimes they hide another screw for the front plastic that's only accessible from the back, but I don't see that, so we're gonna flip our handle back down and try lifting this case. All right. Oh, that's it. This hole has one more screw hiding in there. Just have to poke and loosen that tiny screw a little bit. We're not removing it. And now just have to ease this up and off. There we go. Okay, now as I get this lifted, and the thing that caught was this screw from the tension button for the bobbin. Alright. So this machine is naked now. And let's plug it back in, and you can hear the noise it's making, I think. So the noise is the lifter for the, you can see how slow the lift and lower on the feed dogs is. The grease and oil that was in there has gotten gummy, so we're gonna turn this around. And there are two ways you can deal with that. We can lay it on our back, and we can work from the top side here. This is the shifter for whether to, for darning to lower the feed dogs. But the part that's gummed up is actually this bar here. This is the bar that does the, that the feed dogs pivot on. So with the back cover off, this is the other thing that we could access without popping the front off. I'm going to heat and oil this and get all the goo out of there so that these can move freely. And while I'm at it, I'm going to apply a bit of grease to the sector here on the shuttle gears and oil this machine up since we can see everything. As you can see, this is one of the greasing it so that it's lifetime lubricated, but that's 10 or 15 years depending on how good the oil that they or grease they use is, and on newer machines they forget to put it in there anyway. So it's time that this got oiled up, and we're gonna just apply grease and oil to everything that we see that moves, and a little bit of heat to this metal gummed piece here, and it should be in good shape soon. So I've applied a little grease to this plastic gear for the cam stack and oiled the rest of this, and as you may be able to see here, let me flip this handle out of the way, this cam is this cam down in here at the tip of my finger is the feed cam, and it's got a lever that rides on it, and in an old Singer that would be a big fork so that cam would bang that lever back and forth, but on the newer machines there's a spring to return it. So if you have a machine like this and the reverse block, which is right in here, the reverse block gets all gummed up and stuck from the grease in there. It'll hold the lever from hitting the cam there, and it won't drive the feed dogs. And you need to access this block, and you can see it's all crusty with the gross old waxed up grease that was on it, and you just have to warm it and apply fresh oil until it frees up again. This machine does have felts on the major bearings so that it does have good lubrication everywhere. So I've re-oiled those felts, and hopefully that means it will be in good service for a while. Oh, one more thing. The cam stack here, this machine on the front only has 4 features, but the cam stack extends 5 more cams behind where the finger can be selected on this machine, and it's got the selector all the way up on it. That's what all the space on this dial is for. This machine just has a stopper in it to prevent you from selecting the rest of the cams on it. And if you wanted to, and you have your own machine, you can pull the dial off here and remove the stopper, and it will just let you rotate and select the rest of those cams. So we make sure that our dial is here. Peg here, this stopper. You just take that stopper off. It'll let you select the remaining cams on the stack. So I do need to get my dial on against the stopper there. And that's the So to get this to set back on, you can put the dial with the stopper in the back of it on here, and then you just rotate it gently until it pops all the way in place. And then it's ready to do the stitch selection for the 4 stitches. But like I said, if you have a machine like this and you want to unlock the stitches, you can just pull that stopper off the back of the dial, and it should let you get through to the rest of the cam stack and the other stitches that would be printed on the rest of this selector dial. Anyhow, I am going to grab the shell and put that back on. So let's take our, now that we've oiled this, take our front and that, and I did heat and oil that crossbar. Lay this down. Alright, begin setting it in place. Remember, we have this post on the winder that has to go get lifted to pop into place. And then as we put our cover on, we have to pull the feed dog retractor down, but I also need to, there we go, pull that down because that interacts with this notch on the cover. And this is all in place. Yep. Alright. So I'm going to reach through this hole and feel for that screw and tighten it. I thought I felt, nope, there it is. And then we got this gold cap screw. I think. Oh yeah. Yep. Just had to get it to start in that thread there. And then the important thing to remember about this is that some of the, like these 2 screws from the front case are also clamping the back case. So I can only put some of the bottom screws in here. Let's see now. And there are 2 types of these goldish colored screws, reddish gold screws. One of them has the washer shape on it, so it's a little bit larger. This washer shape here is a little bit larger than the other one, and that goes into the bigger clamping locations that clamp a lot more plastic. So lift this up. Remember, we've got our tiny screw that goes in here. And There's this clamping screw here. And that was all of the screws that go into the front of the case before the back goes on. And then the back, I did put a dab of grease on these gears for the hook drive. And I also oiled the hook drive shaft, and like I said, I oiled this here so that it flops up and down properly. We should be able to That's right, I gotta work this end has to work on first because it's got the power block and this bracket that fits under the belt and behind that stump, so there. With that in place, I can now I'm gonna, let's see. There. Right, that's all lined up, so I can give it a little bit of a tap here. And that's lined up so it gets a bit of a tap, and then we gotta lift our piece here so that it goes around the arm for the presser foot lift, and then made a mistake. Can't tighten this screw here until we get the top snapped together because that screw prevents the seam from pushing together. There. There. Now with the seam held together, you tighten the two clamping screws that are under the handle. And that'll hold that part of the seam together, and then give the rest of that a bit of a push. There's the screw in here. And this seam can be coaxed with come on. There. Just got to make sure that the two sides of the seam are in the right direction when you give that little bang to snap it all together. This screw is the longer version of the machine screw trim screws because it goes through 2 bits of the case. And then this hole was a very long self-tapping plastic screw. There it is. It's finally in there all the way. And let's see. I got this self-tapping plastic screw comes from down in behind here and goes through a corner in the bracket to the back of the case. And so screw here, and this screw was not accessible without removing the door on the end of the machine here. So that was that, and now we'll finish putting the screws back in the bottom here. So this is the one with the washer cast onto it, and that's not long enough for that. That one goes, oh, that's the mistake I made. Now this doesn't matter because these screws are roughly the same size, but this one doesn't fit in this, the one with the washer, because it's got the slightly bigger head, doesn't fit in the indent on the bottom here quite the same as this screw does. So that's the only difference, is that the indents for the screws are a slightly different fit. And I guess that one doesn't fit there either, but it still fits in the hole, and that's fine. Got these are the ones that are long enough for these back holes on the bottom here. Alright, what I got left is my 2 screws for the door. So there's 2 silver door screws for this door. Put that on, and then this machine is ready to go. Right, so I did oil that, but it occurs to me I didn't demonstrate that being stuck was the noise. So the slow return for the feed dogs is the noise that this machine was making. So